Hey guys, today I'm going to be sharing how I got this makeup look. This is that soft type of foxy eye look. So if you're interested, let's go ahead and jump in. We're going to start off with the face right now. I'm going to go ahead and prime it up using the new Too Faced Primed and Poreless Primer. This is a blurring primer, so it's going to blur up all those pores and get it all ready for foundation. So I'm going to put it everywhere, mainly keeping it into my T-zone and patting it in. So for this look, it entails more of a straighter brow, which I do not have, but we're going to go ahead and mimic that look. So I'm just going to go ahead and brush up my brow hairs with a spoolie. I'm going to put some clear brow gel in it. You can use any. Today I'm using the e.l.f. Clear Brow Gel. And then I'm going to use the e.l.f. Pomade. This one's in the color Dark Brown. And lightly fill in my brows to my liking, remembering to keep the tail a little bit more on that straighter edge. So you'll see I kind of passed my natural hairs, but I will cover that up with concealer. So I'm just going to keep it more straight. And this will give the illusion of a lifted eye, which is so cool that these tips and tricks can do so. I love it. Then I'm going to go ahead and clean that up with the Too Faced concealer just to lightly give a little bit of carving out underneath. So the style of this makeup technique is definitely like Bella Hadid-esque. I see a ton of makeup artists do looks like this, and honestly, it's like one of my favorite ones. I love that kind of straight brow, but I've never really done it on myself, so I figured today would be the perfect time to do so, and I actually love it. So for the skin, for foundation, I'm going in with the Hailey Beauty Reset Matte Foundation and mixing it in with a little bit of the Too Faced Born This Way. Love these foundations, and I will have them linked below with shades and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and first start off with this one, applying it all over my skin, and then mix a little bit of the Too Faced one with the Beauty Sponge all over and making sure to blend it down to my neck. Don't worry, the color does match throughout the end of this whole process perfectly. Trust the process. So we're going to be using two concealers today. The first one I'm going in with is the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use. I'm going to put a little bit under my eye. Then I'm going to add a little bit towards the side of my eye and pat that in. I will add more later on, but I'm just kind of putting a guide for myself of where I want the concealer to go. Just by doing that little concealer trick, it will definitely change the game, and your face just has that much more of an uplifted effect. So good. And then I'll be taking the e.l.f. Camo Concealer as well and popping a little bit more underneath my direct eye and then the sides of my nose as well. And then I will add a tiny bit towards the temple area. You want to make sure that is also concealed as well. I'm going to take this e.l.f. sponge and go ahead and blend it in the exact areas we placed it is where I'm going to be blending it in. So I'm not dragging it any lower than where we placed it. So before I go ahead and set it down with translucent powder, I'm going to do eyes quickly. So I'm going to take the BH Cosmetics, it's my Ray Ray palette. You can use any palette for this. You can use any brown shade or any dark black shade, anything you would like. Today I'm going to start out with this dark brown shade and a brush. I'm going to take a little bit on this brush, get a pretty fluffy brush for this, but also one that's a little bit domed, I guess. And I'm going to start and put it towards the corner of my eye where I would want like a wing to be and kind of just blend that in upwards motion towards the tail of the brow. So it's just kind of giving a guide as to where we're going to be placing this line later on and just kind of work that in. Then I'm going to take another brush that's more defined and start drawing a line and guide myself even more. This whole process is definitely a process, and I use a lot of brushes for this. I'm going to also then take a angled brush and just apply this line a little bit more heavily in this area, and I'm going to really extend it pretty far up towards the tail of the brow, and you'll see this instantly just gives that lifted effect to the whole eye look. And I'm not going to be leaving it like this. Of course, there's going to be a lot of blending involved, so I'm going to go ahead and start blending this product into the lid area. So just diffusing it inwards and really smoking out that line just so it looks a little bit more softened. And keep in mind, you definitely can use like a liquid eyeliner, a black liquid liner. Then I'm going to take Laura Mercier translucent powder and go ahead and set my under eyes, being mindful of that wing right there. We want to just keep it on an angle and set right underneath it as well. Once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and brush it away with a brush. I'm not really the one to bake, so I'm not going to leave it on for too long, but you instantly can see a difference in even my cheekbone area, just it looking a lot more snatched. Taking the new NARS matte bronzing powder, I'm going to go ahead and apply it with this angled brush, and I'm actually going to apply it a little bit higher, so I'm going to put it more into like the cheekbone area where I would kind of highlight, I guess, in the back area, and really press it in and then start blending my way. And as you can see on each side, it just looks more lifted. I actually really like placing the bronzer in this area. It's a really pretty look, and for this particular Foxy eye, it goes perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this color and make sure it blends all evenly. And then I'm also going to put a little bit onto my forehead, the sides of my nose. Also, I know I'm saying the word lifted about 100 times, so I'm just letting you know, sorry, now. I'll also be bringing this color on the sides of my jaw as well to structure that up just a little bit. Totally feel like I'll be doing this technique for bronzing so much more with like applying it a little bit higher on top of the cheekbone. I think it looks awesome on like this face shape that I have, but I think it just looks awesome for anyone. It's super bronzy and just really gives that, again, snatched look, but I love it. So I know I'm a little all over the place, but I'm going to hop back into the eyes right now again with that same brown shade with that palette, taking another brush and kind of blending that upwards again. To give more of the elongated illusion, I'm going to be blending this color up into the brow bone area and just diffusing it lightly in there, but still keeping that line pretty prominent as well. So as I go ahead and do this, I'm also going to be blending a little bit onto my lid area very lightly, just so we don't have that being so bare and it's kind of still like that nude on the lid. Then I'm going to take that bronzing shade that we used earlier and apply it on that same angled brush and put it more towards like the lid area where I would place an eyeliner, and just kind of blending that in and making sure it all blends pretty nicely and matching it up with the winged area. Taking that same bronzing color on that brush, I'm going to take it and run it down the sides of my nose one more time. And this is going to match up with the beginning of our brow. And this will also give more of a slendered look in that area. Since there's so much blending going on in this look, and I know it is super simple, but blending is tedious, I'm going to be taking another dark brown shade, this one's from the LA Girl palette, and a defined brush again, and just deepening up that line one more time. I think it really just makes it pop even more. Next, I just wanted to clean up the underneath section of that liner that we placed there. So I'm taking a little bit of that concealer and that same blending sponge and just popping a little bit underneath the line just so it's a little bit more sharpened, and then just blending it away. And now the next part is going to be optional, of course, and I actually kind of wish I didn't do it, but we're doing it anyway. I'm taking a thinner brush and drawing an inverted wing in the inner corner of my eye, and I'm just applying a tiny bit because I don't want it to look too much. And I still wanted to keep this kind of soft, so I did not add too much, but you totally can make it more prominent. Then I'm taking Persona Cali Glow in the color Zuma and highlighting my cheekbones, a little bit on my forehead, my nose, Cupid's bow, and keeping it very light but still very pretty. For lashes, I'm going to be cutting them up just a little bit so we don't have it super long, but I'm going to be using the Lash DNA from Salon Perfect. Then I'm going to be using Profusion Lash Out Loud mascara and applying a little bit to the root of the lashes just on the top. And I did apply the lashes more towards the end of my lashes and kept the front area kind of bare and just natural lash. And that will just help with the lifted cat-ish type of effect. For the lips, I'm going in with Nude Beige from NYX lip liner, one of my favorites, but I felt a nude lip liner was definitely appropriate for this look. So I'm gonna go ahead and line them up and fill them in a little bit. I really wanted to intensify the shade just a little bit, so I went in with MAC Strip Down just to add a little bit more color and fill in the lips just a tad more. For a little bit of a gloss on top of the lips, I went in with the Too Faced Hangover Pillow Talk. I like to use it over top of lipstick. And then that pretty much completes this look. Now, of course, it is not perfect. It's more of like a soft glam, I like to call it. This was my take on creating it, so I hope you guys did enjoy it and maybe found it a little bit helpful, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!